divide all the work, right? So that's what he did. He took the advice, and it was better for him, right? So today we will read about it is part 4 and story 1, okay? And today we will read the golden rules. Do you know what are golden rules? Can you tell? Yes, very good. 10 commandments, right? The 10 commandments. So let us read the story. Okay. 3 months after the children of Israel had been delivered from Egyptian bondage. How many months it has been passed now? 3 months, right? They were delivered from the Egyptian bondage. And but in a very hot desert in the shadow of Mount Sinai, instead of going north, the pillar of cloud had moved to the south. And here they were hundreds of miles from where they had expected to be at this time. Why had God done this? Why they were supposed to go towards north, but they went to a south. So why do you think God had done this? God might be have some plan, right, to protect Israelite. So first, because he knew that his people, just freed from the centuries of slavery, were not ready to meet the warlike Philistines who lived in the southern part of Philistines. Okay, and second, because he has some lessons he wanted to teach them. First, okay, they came from the slavery, and they now, if they will see a war, it will be so hard for them, right? And the second is that God wanted to teach them something very important. Okay, and he needed time and a private place set off from the rest of the world. Third, and most important of all, third one, okay, he was planning a great future for this people, and he wanted to have them all to himself for a while until he was sure they understand, okay, what what sort of people he wanted them to be and what kind of work he wanted them to do. So the most important was God was planning for them a great future, okay, what God wanted them to be and what kind of work he wanted them to do. Okay, for God had not brought the children of Israel out of Egypt by such a wonderful deliverance just so they could be like other nations. God did not bring them so that they can be like other people, like worldly people. Okay, they were to be totally different. Someday through them would come the seed of the woman, Jesus. Okay, to crush the serpent's head. Therefore, he wanted them to be his chief helpers in making known his plan of salvation to all people. They above all were to tell the story of his love for this world, how he created it in the beginning, and how he plans to restore it to its Edenic beauty someday in the future. Okay, so God wanted them to know how God created in the beginning, right? If they were to his witness, speaking to others of a holy God, they too must be holy. They must know right from wrong and be glad and willing to choose the right at all times. They should be willing to choose the right thing all the time. And they must know why sin is hateful and hate it. But how could they be a holy people when they knew so little of what God expected of them? Right? So they need to learn, right? The truth. Some knowledge of his laws and standard had come down to them through Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, and their own parents. But during the long, sad years of bondage in Egypt, when they had to live and work among idolatries, many of God's teaching had been forgotten. Okay, some might have become idol worshipper also. Okay, so because God knew all this, okay, he spoke again from Sinai, okay, making known his will so clearly that there could be no mistake or misunderstanding about through all the time to come. Before he did so, however, he told Moses tell to tell the people to sanctify themselves and wash their clothes. Okay? And this was to be a very solemn occasion which they would not forget as long as they lived. Be ready against the third day, said Moses, for the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. So if you go before, when we go to church, we get ready nicely, right? We take bath and then we go to a church, right? So likewise only, God is going to come before them. So Moses told all the Israelites, okay, you take you wash your clothes, get ready, clean yourself, okay, clean your heart also, okay, and great excitement filled the camp. The mighty God who had saved them from the Egyptian, who had cut a path through the sea, and who had sent them bread from heaven and water from the rock, the wonderful God of whom they had talked and dreamed from childhood, was coming near to them. It was such a excitement time for them, right? That they will see, they will meet their God. So near they would be able to hear his voice. The days of preparation quickly passed. Then on the morning of the third day, Mount Sinai became like a volcano. Okay? Its summit enveloped in a fiery cloud, like a volcano. Volcano eruption. Okay? So there were thunders and lightning and a thick cloud upon the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. The mount it quaked, earthquake, like that only, okay? So it was an awesome sight, and the children of Israel trembled with fear. They're scared to go near God, right? Even the boys and the girls stood silent and still as they gazed at the mighty spectacle in wide-eyed wonder. Suddenly, from far upon on the mount, out of the midst of the fire and the smoke, came a wondrous sound, deep, rich, and melodious. It was the voice of whose voice? Yes, it was the voice of God. Can you see in the picture? This is Mount Sinai. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God. Okay, now God is going to give them 10 commandments. Okay, God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Then he declared his holy will in the 10 commandments. Okay, then he gave 10 commandments. Okay, and then his first one, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Yes, we should not have any other God before us, right? Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them to love me and keep my commandments. So this was the instruction, the law that God gave to all the Israelites. And the third one, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember, fourth one, right? This is the most important, that we all Adventists should remember this, right? We should always keep in our heart. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Okay? In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy servant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So we should not do anything on Sabbath, right? And the fifth one, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And the sixth one, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his maidservant, nor his maidservant, uh, nor his ox, nor his anything that is thy neighbor's. Okay? As the people listened, they were greatly moved. That lovely voice speaking with such majesty and power, yet with a tenderness they had never heard before, touched every heart. It made them want to be good. This was the will of God, then they wanted to do it. So they answered together and said, all that the Lord hath spoken will we do. 3 times they said it, and I believe they meant it. Okay? But God knew how soon they would forget, and that some would begin to question what it was He said. So, because these commandments were His will, not only for the Israelites, but all for the mankind. It was not only for the Israelites, but for all the mankind. And in order that men should know that they are unchangeable, He wrote them on 2 slabs of stones. Okay, the Bible says that He gave unto Moses. Okay, like this you can see, like this type of slab. Okay, and then He gave to Moses when He had made end of communion with Him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stones written with the finger of God. God by Himself He wrote and gave to Moses. God wrote them Himself with His own finger. How very important they must be, right? God Himself He wrote that. It is very much important for all the human kind, right? So Jesus thought so too when long years after the wonderful scene at Sinai, our loving Savior came to teach us how to live and once again reveal the mind and will of God. He said, till heaven and earth passed, on one jot or one title shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. And he added these solemn words, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandment and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Today, these 10 golden rules are still God's wills for us. All who love Him truly will try their best to keep them with His help. From their hearts, they will say with gladness, like the Israelites of old, all that the Lord has said we do and be obedient. Can we all repeat? Okay. All that
All that
the Lord hath said
the Lord has said,
will we do
will we do
and be obedient.
and be obedient.
Yes. So we must keep the commandment that God has given us, right? Truly we should keep that, right? And it is for all of us. Okay? So God bless you all as we um, came to know about the 10 commandments. Okay, and we should keep in our hearts and mind, okay, and not forget those commandments. Okay, so okay, can you start?
And yes.
This is different one.
Oh yes, ma'am. Wait.
Okay, can you start? Lord, I love to sing your praises. I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you came to save us. You came from heaven to earth to show the way. From the earth to the cross, my debt to pay. From the cross to the grave, from the grave to the sky, Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I lift your name on high. Thank you. Abigail, can you pray?
Yes. Be with us, guide us for the Sabbath and with this offering which is collected and bless us for this day, Lord, and keep us safe as we go from here. But prayers in Jesus Christ.
Jason is there no at home? Yes. Our summer school is over and we are going for church. Goodbye, goodbye, be always kind and true.